Hi, and welcome to Stamp with Jini. Today I'm going to share with you how I made the Take Your Pick toolbox. This toolbox holds the Take Your Pick tool along with the instructions and your replacement and accessories. This one is the self-close lid, and today I'm going to show you the magnetic lid. So let me set these aside and we'll get started. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is a piece of cardstock, and this cardstock measures 8 inches by 9 5/8 inches. I'm going to set the 8-inch side along the top of my ruler, and I'm going to score at 3/4 inches, 3 3/4, 4 1/2, and 7 1/2. And then I'm going to turn my cardstock to the side, and I am going to score at 3/4 inch here on this left side, and then flip it over and repeat. And I'm ready to set my scoreboard aside and use my paper snips. Okay, with my paper snips, I'm going to want to cut on these two small tabs here, first on the right and then on the left. And then I'm going to cut on this third 1, 2, 3 score line on both sides. And then I'm going to take my paper snips, and on this score line with the 1/2 inch mark, I'm going to cut the flap off, going all the way down to that first cut. And then I'm going to want to snip here on these two score lines down to this next score line. And at this point I'm going to taper my corners. 1, 2 on my 1/2 inch flap. And then I'm going to taper them a little bit here so that when you put your box together, it's a little nicer fold. And I'm going to repeat that for all 4 flaps. And once I've got that repeated for all 4 flaps, I'm ready to start folding on my score lines. You'll want to use your bone folder for this so that you get some nice crisp lines. Okay, at this point I can see how my box is going to go together simply by lifting up the tabs. And so I like to decorate my box before I start assembling. I've cut a piece of tag board that measures 8 by 2 7/8 along with 2 pieces of designer series paper the same size. This piece of tag board is going to give the bottom of your box some stability, and so I'm just taking my multi-purpose liquid adhesive, or you could use your tear and tape, and adding that to the bottom of the box inside those score lines. And then I'm going to decide which side of my designer series paper I want up, and for this one I think I'm going to do the flowers. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the back side of this and place it on top of that tag board. Like I said, this just gives your box a little bit of stability and will make it last longer. Okay, so that's the inside of the box, and since I have chosen the flowers, I'm going to repeat that same step on the outside of the box, making sure that I've got it well adhered. And at this point you can use my PDF that includes the top piece here without the Stamp with Jini for your box. You can simply print it out. I've got it available in the oval size and for your tailored tag punch, and you can choose which one you want to do. And I've got it in the Blackberry Bliss along with the basic black. So I'm going to add the small pieces along the side, and I am going to take this small piece that I have here, which is 5/8 inches by 2 7/8, and I'm going to add it to the side of my box here. and then do the same on the other side. Once again, we're working on the outside of the box. And I am going to take my back piece here that goes on the back of the box. It measures 8 5/8 inches. I'm going to add the adhesive along there. And I'm using this particular designer series paper because it's a little heavier weight, and so it will give my box a little more stability also. Okay, so now I've got the outside pieces, and I'm getting ready to do the magnetic flap and the bottom of the box edge that will have the magnetic flap. So what I've done here is I've cut 2 pieces of magnet, and this is simply the vent magnet that I use in my Big Shot framelit die cases. But I've simply cut that down to 8 inches. This one happens to measure a 1/2 inch because it's going to go here on my bottom of the box, and then this one measures 8 by 3/8 of an inch because it's going to go on the flap. And I've added some tear and tape to this, so I am simply going to remove the back protective piece. And I've added some tear and tape to these, so all I have to do is remove the back protective piece. Now these are a little wider than the 3 or the 1/2 inch, excuse me, but I want my magnet covered really well. So what I've done is put 2 pieces on my 1/2 inch magnet. And let's see if I can get my fingers to work here. And then all I'm going to do is fold over this edge back onto the magnet itself. You can trim this if you prefer, but this is just quick and easy, and it adds that adhesive on top of the adhesive, so there's no harm. And I'm going to adhere this piece to this top edge on this flap that will be on the inside, technically, of my box when it's put together. Now on this second piece that is 3 1/8 inch, I want to turn my lid or my box over, and I'm wanting to put it on the inside flap of my box. So I'm going to simply pull off that tear and tape again and fold over any extra edges, and then I am going to put this along the flap. It's a little longer than what I want, so I can simply take my paper snips and trim so that it matches that shape. Or you can go straight like the other side, whichever is your preference. And now I'm ready to start building my box. So I am going to put some liquid adhesive on the outside of my box flaps. And I like to use the multi-purpose adhesive because it's really strong and fast, and it'll make a nice tight fit. And I'm making sure that I line up my outside edges, hold for 5 seconds, just count to 5, and then do the next one. And once again, lining up those edges so my box is nice and neat, and moving to the next side. And the final flap. Okay, and to finish the flap, once you have your magnet in place, you're going to take a piece of designer series paper that measures 8 inches by 3/8 of an inch, the same as the magnet, and you can add some adhesive to the back of it and place it along your outside, trimming it to match that flap angle, just like you did with the magnet. There you go. You're ready to add your tool to the inside now. To add my tool, I'm simply going to take this clear base that it comes with that holds your tool and slide it into your box. And you can see that beautiful designer series paper on the inside. And with a click, it'll close. Let me show you the original again. This one has got a non-magnetic flap. I simply tuck it inside against the plastic tray, and I've left this outside edge the same size as the back one, so you can do it either way. Also, a little tip, I've taken my instructions and I've cut them down and I've adhered them on the box lid, so I've always got the instructions with my tool on how to replace the tips and how to work the putty. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial for your Take Your Pick toolbox. If you'd like any of these products, feel free to stop by my online store. You can get there from my blog, Stamp with Jini. Thanks for joining me.